The various kinds of food we eat contain nutrients that act as fuel for our body. And one of those major nutrients are carbohydrates. Most of the carbohydrates present in it are broken down and digested into sugar. This broken down sugar is also called glucose. This glucose will be released into the bloodstream, and your body will use this glucose as the primary energy source for its functioning. But there is a problem. The glucose cannot enter any of the cells because they are locked. Every cell in our body can only be opened through a hormone called insulin. You can think of insulin as the key that opens the cell. The pancreas does the job of producing this insulin for our body. As soon as the pancreas senses the presence of glucose in the blood, it produces insulin, which is released into the blood. This insulin helps in opening the locked cells, which in turn helps glucose to enter these cells and act as the source of energy. But if you consume more food than what your body needs, the glucose in the bloodstream will increase accordingly. An average person should not have more than 100 milligrams per deciliter or 1 teaspoon of glucose in their bloodstream at any given time. When above average glucose is present in the bloodstream beyond a certain period of time, it leads to serious damage to the organs in the long run. To prevent this, the pancreas will produce more insulin, which will force the cells to take in all that extra glucose from the bloodstream. The cells will expand more and more until it reaches its biological limitations. To prevent any damage, our cells will start resisting insulin. This phenomenon is called insulin resistance. Now that the cells are not taking in the excess glucose, insulin will instruct the liver to store the excess glucose. The liver will store a small portion of it as glycogen, which is essentially a chain of glucose, and the remaining as fat. However, the amount of glucose that can be stored in our body is very limited. An average human can store around 2,000 calories of glucose. But unlike glucose, fat has no real limitations. So basically, 1. You eat food. 2. Our body converts food into glucose. 3. To manage glucose, the body produces insulin. 4. Insulin makes the cell consume glucose. 5. Insulin instructs the liver to store the excess glucose as glycogen and fat. Months or years of consuming more calories than needed will lead to weight gain. To reverse this, most people will start cutting the calories they take in. As simple as it is, it will not work. In fact, several studies show that cutting back on the calories can decrease the number of calories the body burns by as much as 23%. Your body slows down a lot of the functions that are necessary to burn calories, including your metabolism and blood pressure. And as a woman, it can make your menstruation cycle irregular, which can affect your hormones and lead to weight gain. Even after cutting your calories, as long as you take carbs, your body will only use the glucose produced from those carbs as energy and not the fat stored in your body. Additionally, a study done by the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found out that insulin supports the preservation of fat. But there is one way you can trick your body to use the stored fat instead of glucose as energy. Can you guess the trick? The trick is, instead of limiting your calorie intake, you need to limit your carb intake. You don't need to eat less, you just need to eat right. On average, a human being consumes about 275 grams of carbohydrates per day. To make this trick work, experts suggest limiting your carb intake to under 20 grams per day. Because glucose can only be stored in limited quantities, the glucose reserves in your body will be completely utilized within 12 to 48 hours, depending on your activity level. In the absence of glucose, the body enters a metabolic state known as ketosis. This process occurs when the body doesn't have enough glucose to burn for energy. During ketosis state, your body converts fat into water-soluble compounds known as ketones and uses them as the main source of energy. In such a state, your body undergoes many biological adaptations. Your insulin levels will return to normal, and there will also be an increase in fat breakdown. This switches your body from being a sugar-burning machine into a fat-burning machine. When your body employs fat as its primary fuel, the amount of oxygen typically required decreases, indicating that your metabolism is running more efficiently. Ketones are produced in little amounts when one goes many hours without eating, such as after a full night's sleep. But experts suggest that the most reliable way to get into a state of ketosis is by following a ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet, or keto diet, is a high-fat, moderate-protein, low-carb diet that helps in getting into a state of ketosis easily and efficiently. Many studies show a ketogenic diet, which facilitates a smooth transition into a state of ketosis, is more effective for weight loss than calorie-restrictive, low-fat diets. A 24-week study was conducted between 120 overweight men to compare the effects of a low-carbohydrate, ketogenic diet program with those of a low-fat diet. During that period, the men who followed a low-fat diet lost about 10.5 pounds, as compared to 20.7 pounds lost by the men following a low-carbohydrate, ketogenic diet. It was observed that men whose body was in ketosis state by following the ketogenic diet lost twice as much fat as compared to men who ate a low-fat diet. Research shows that most humans eat between 3 to 5 pounds of food per day and feel hungry most of the time. But one of the first things people often notice when they're in ketosis is that they're no longer hungry all the time. In fact, research has shown that being in ketosis aids in suppressing appetite. One research studied those individuals who lost weight by following a ketogenic diet for 8 weeks and then slowly reintroduced small amounts of carbs. The researchers reported that levels of the hormone ghrelin, which regulates hunger, was suppressed in those who remained in ketosis, whereas those who were no longer in ketosis had increased levels of the same. Also, the ketogenic participants' triglycerides lowered significantly while their levels of beneficial cholesterols increased. Whereas the participants following a low-fat diet experienced only a minor drop in triglycerides, whereas beneficial cholesterols had decreased. Many people automatically eat less when they restrict carbs and are allowed plenty of fats and protein as substitutes. Because ketosis suppresses appetite, decreases insulin levels, and speeds up the burning of fat, it isn't a surprise that it's been shown to surmount other diets intended for weight loss. Additionally, for people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, a state of ketosis can help normalize blood sugar levels and insulin response, potentially leading to the discontinuation of insulin medication. In a 3-month study comparing a ketogenic diet to a moderate carb diet, people in the ketogenic group averaged a 0.6 decrease in HbA1c. 12% of participants achieved an HbA1c below 5.7%, which is considered to be the average. Indeed, dozens of controlled studies show that the ketosis state helps control blood sugar and may also provide various other health benefits. But getting into ketosis and staying consistent can be a bit challenging. But always remember this: excuses don't get results. Be stronger than your excuses. The body achieves what the mind believes. You already know what giving up feels like, but I want you to see what happens if you don't. To help you get started, I have provided a free PDF filled with easy and delicious low-carb recipes that will help you get into ketosis effortlessly. The link is in the description. A little more persistence and a little more effort. What seemed a hopeless failure may turn into a glorious success. And in case you need the help of a professional, Click the link in the description box or in the pinned comment to get a personalized, foolproof 8-week meal plan that will give you excellent results within months. In addition to the comprehensive meal plan, you will also get a downloadable shopping list, meals that are based on personal food preferences, detailed recipes with step-by-step instructions, and much more. If you find this video helpful, please like the video. Can we get 1,000 likes on this video? That will motivate me a lot to make more videos like this. I am also working on a follow-up video that will cover symptoms of ketosis, so don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If there are any other topics you'd like me to cover, please comment on them down below. That's it for now.